In the Gray is Guy Ritchie's latest film, and it was a solid, slow burn action drama. Isa Gonzalez is our main character. She's a lawyer who works for an asset management organization, and this organization loaned $1 billion to a questionable crime lord multi-billionaire. So it's her task to get the money back through questionable but somehow legal means. I did like the movie, but man, did the first half have me worried. It was very dialogue heavy. Isa's character of Rachel is our narrator to set up the events that occur in the first chunk of the film. The movie takes a while to set up its premise of the $1 billion loan and the plan to pressure the billionaire bad guy into paying it back. While it's not bad to have a dialogue-heavy movie, I don't think this film needed that. The concepts of loans, assets, and espionage were straightforward. Even the legal side of things is brought up, but only at a surface level. There wasn't really any legal jousting or battle of wits where an emphasis and volume of dialogue makes more sense. In the Gray didn't really need to narrate and describe the events and ideas they were already showing us in the scenes. I could be swayed either way as to whether or not the extensive setup that occurs in the first chunk of the film is actually worthwhile for the audience, because I do think the second half of the movie delivers. You get the espionage and action. Henry Cavill and Jake Gyllenhaal were solid as the covert operatives who execute the questionable parts of the plan to pressure the billionaire into paying back the loan. And you also get to see them operate when things go south. However, I could totally see how the movie would lose a viewer with how laborious and extensive the setup dialogue was in the first half of the film. Some parts of the story also require a good amount of suspension of disbelief. The legal aspects aren't entirely believable because the proceedings and court battles take days to weeks, when in reality, it's way more likely that the battle of financial debt and asset acquisition to take months or even years. Speaking of the questionable timing of events in the story, part of Henry Cavill and Jake Gyllenhaal's responsibility is to strategize extraction plans for if and when Isa's meeting with the billionaire bad guy goes wrong. It was cool to see the covert team practice and fine-tune their strategies. But they're doing it on the bad guy's home turf. This kind of thing would also take weeks and maybe even months to get done. So the fact that nobody on the bad guy's team even noticed them until the last minute was pretty nonsensical. Especially because the billionaire bad guy owns the entire island, literally and figuratively. In the Gray is aptly titled because it's not a stellar movie, but it's also not awful. It's just alright. I think the movie could have benefited from really trimming up the first half of the film, and then leaning into the action sequences in the latter half of the movie. I definitely would have preferred more scenes with Cavill and Gyllenhaal executing the extraction plan and also the rescue mission. And that's the gist for my spoiler-free thoughts of In the Gray. I'm quite fond of Guy Ritchie's movies. More often than not, his tone and style work for me, and I'm glad to have enjoyed this movie. This is the kind of movie, though, that you catch on streaming. I like seeing the action set pieces on the big screen, but that first half of the film is really one that you want to fast forward through. If you've seen In the Gray, hit me up and let me know what you thought about it in the comments down below. Otherwise, I'll catch you next time on The Gist.